It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got another video suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community. So shout out to Aureus for suggesting this Twitter thread from Otzdarva. And I wanted to go over it, give my thoughts on it, kind of break it down piece by piece. So the very first post says you cannot fix map density without nerfing S tier killers, and then obviously a little thread emoji. Now, off of just the first message, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that they already have nerfed the S tier killers. Blight was nerfed down from 4.6 to 4.4 movement speed. Nurse is one of her best add-ons to actually give her extended lunge, has also been nerfed as well, and she's also a character that isn't affected by pallets in the first place, so adjusting pallets for Nurse is kind of not really a good idea. I don't think that she really, because she's not really affected by it, Blight's the main one that has to deal with collision, and if they already nerfed him down to 4.4, that means he's a lot slower and less effective at what he's doing. So by definition, we've already met that goal. So my next question is, why are we not we're not nerfing the main problem? Right? The next one says the goal of the pallet density update was to remove large dead zone areas where absolutely nothing of value would spawn, sometimes very consistently. In this regard, we've seen a massive quote-unquote improvement. In some maps, you cannot find a single corner without a pallet. So that right there, I think, is partially why we have the overabundance of pallets, is because they were trying to get rid of the quote-unquote large dead zone, but it lacks a lot of nuance onto which maps already have plenty of pallets and which maps lack pallets. And because behavior doesn't playtest and doesn't actually have any information for their own game somehow, they have data, but they don't have the in-game knowledge of testing the game and actually playing the goddamn game. They wouldn't be able to tell you straight up, hey, this map has the most, this map has the least. Even if people were, like HOTS were to break it down, it will never get seen or never get shown or something like that. So it really doesn't make any sense, but regardless. He says, however, this has created a problem in the opposite direction. In many maps, the idea of saving resources for later is now completely obsolete. The ideas of preserving pallets, survivors, or trying to get rid of resources early, killers, are sometimes completely obsolete. This is something that I agree with, and this is something that we've seen with the latest patches and updates, and this is why I've been so adamant on telling you guys and showing you guys, and how a bunch of other people that are also saying the same exact thing as me, where it's like Survivor has become Shift W meta, pre-drop meta, like just slop Shift W spacebar simulator. Like, you don't really do anything else that's interesting. You're filling bars and running to rectangles on your screen. You're not doing anything else. And that's what I've been talking about. And the odds right here is also confirming that, because in their attempt to try to fix the dead zones, they inevitably created an overabundance of resources, making Survivor even more brainless than it already is. That is the issue. So Odd says, in some previously dead zone prone maps, a few extra unsafe pallets do not affect the map balance too much and create fun chase situations for both sides, especially now that pallet rescues have been nerfed and cannot happen from every angle anymore. No problem there. A bit debatable, but yeah, but we can't argue really against it because there's no specifics, so we can't agree or disagree entirely because we don't have anything to back it up. But I just disagree with the statement just off of just the fact that the idea of chase being fun makes sense, because I do think that chases can be fun, but I don't think the game is designed around the chase being longer or more fun. I think it's designed around efficiency at this point, so like because of that, it makes it way less interesting, but that's regardless. Odd says, but maps that were already safe have also received extra pallets. Not just weak fillers, but also save time wasting pallets that hurt the lower tier killers in particular for obvious reasons, regardless of what impact this has on the win rate percent. It's simply not fun, which is what I've been saying. I don't entirely disagree with that. And it makes sense. That's exactly what I've been stating as well. So Odd says, what is the solution? Reduced map size. With smaller maps, there's less need to fill tons of space with mindless fillers. Instead, we can have tiles with safer but less abundant pallets that allow for more mind games and skill expression on both sides. Now, Odds is kind of cooking with this. I mean, that's something that I think one of the biggest issues with M1 killers is their lack of mobility. We can look at characters like Ghostface. We can look at characters like Trapper, Skull Merchant, like even Legion. Despite the fact that they have Frenzy, they still struggle with like big maps. Like Ormond being their map is humongous, so you don't really even get to land multiple hits of Frenzy at all, basically. So that's something that S tiers are not affected by, because S tiers and even some A tiers are able to have teleportation options, are able to, and we're talking like actually fast, reliable teleportation, and not like a gimmick where it's like I walk through door and then press button and then slowly mosey along and end up on the other side. Like that's just a waste of time. We're talking about like Dracula, where it's like click, you fly over, bam, you're there. You know what I mean? Or we're talking like Blight, where he can just kind of dash and he'll make his way over in a couple of bounces. You're like boom boom, or even like Billy, which I would consider more of an A tier. He can rev up those fryers and then fly on over. So that is something I think that a lot of these other characters don't have, and that's why big maps just suck when you're playing Ghostface, especially when you're playing as Pig, when you're playing as Skull Merchant and Trapper and Legion, and I mean, you name it. Like anybody who doesn't have any dashing of any kind, any teleportation of any kind, is gonna feel like shit on those maps. That's how it works. But Odds continues with saying, with smaller maps, lower mobility killers feel less awful to play, and exhaustion perks that allow you to create tons of distance and hold W are also indirectly nerfed. Good examples of maps that already feel small as Lake Mine, Saloon, and bad examples to avoid is the Fallen Refuge. So I kind of see the logic there. I do think there should be some adjustments to exhaustion perks as it is. I've talked briefly on stream about like Lithe, if we were to make it so that they remove the medium vault activation on Lithe, I would think that would make it a lot better, because you can't just pop it out of nowhere. Like you have to actually be, running at the window to be able to get the fast vault, to be able to activate. That to me makes a lot more sense, logically speaking, because of the fact that it not only creates actual skill expression, because you need to be able to practice and understand, which is very basic, mind you. It's not like we're asking for thousands of hours of experience. This is something that you can just get used to in probably a day or two of just playing the game, and just trying to run at the window in a straight line and just pressing the space bar. Not even that difficult, but making it so it's not a medium will at least allow for more skill expression in that sense, and being able to work better than just popping a speed boost just because you're bad at the game. Like those are two different things. And then if you were to make it, if sprint burst is also adjusted to be something else, that would probably need to be looked into and stuff like that. But anyway, so Odd says, but if all maps were this small, the next problem we'd run into is nasty 3-gens. Map design and RNG generation would have to be on point. S-tier killers being extremely oppressive. They'd probably need a small nerf to their overall mobility, at least, among other things. Now, to be fair, they've already nerfed Dracula before. They've nerfed Blight before. They've nerfed Nurse as well. Kaneki has also been nerfed. So they're already nerfing these characters. Like I don't think that like they're being left alone. Like they've been constantly being nerfed like every update. So I don't really think that it really like they're not. It's not like they're not doing that. But the problem is that they're nerfing the killers, but then leaving these crazy pallet ups everywhere. And we've covered previously, they literally have stated, one of the developers have stated they don't have any plans to adjust this pallet density problem, which to me is the nail in the coffin. I just don't think that there really is any reason to play killer anymore because of this. Like this is kind of another kick in the pants for killer players that are trying to actually enjoy the game and actually step into the shoes and have the power fantasy of being the Jason Voorhees or whatever have you, or being Freddy, or being Myers, or being you know, Onryo, or being like a monster from, like, you know, that behavior created. Like, these things should be fun and interesting and actually feel powerful, but they're not. They feel like shit and they feel clunky. It's terrible. First says, sleep until behavior figures out how to generate maps directly in correlation with the strength of the killer being played, which is never going to happen because all killers, notably stronger killers, have a very large skill gap in their player bases. And this person says, see this, like other points brought up, especially palette quality over quantity, being more engaging, but not all high tiers can take a nerf like Blight did. Blight's nerf removed an interactive part of his kit. How do that for the others, who in this case is S tier, which is also a good point. So I would say that, like, Billy to me is like one of the most balanced, like, you know, high tier killers in the game, because he's not somebody that you could just kind of pop up out of nowhere and be able to get like insta downs every single time. Like, you have to rev for quite a while, you have to learn your curves, you have to learn your positioning, you have to learn a lot of different things. And even me picking up Billy was a lot of time investment to figure it out. So this other person says, if you were in charge of reworking Nurse, how'd you balance her? So Odd says aura blindness when charging blinks, remove lunge distance add-on, which they did already nerf it. Remove the extra blink add-on, which I don't remember if they nerfed that too. Bring back flashlight interaction. I guess he's referring to the burn. After hooking, she gets a slightly longer or faster first blink for like 3 seconds to help with mobility. It's not bad. This person's not gonna lie, Odds, if we're gonna have to have fair play in DVD, if we balance pallet density, revision old killers that were being obsolete over the years, nerf some survivor perks, make some changes for bugs and glitches, and overall make both sides have a fun time. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Oh, we found a brownie. Let's go. He says maps should have safe zones and dead zones. Shack is very safe. Main buildings are almost very safe. 1 to 2 dead zones should exist. I think I agree with that. I do agree with that. But regardless, I wouldn't say that Odds is really off the mark with this. When you look at the explanation and you kind of look into what he's trying to say, I do think that, considering the limitations of the game, I would have to say, like, trying to reduce the size of the maps would help the lower tiers a lot. And like I've said, they've already have nerfed a bunch of these like higher tier characters, and they probably will continue to do so. It's not even like they're really against that. What they're actually against is nerfing survivors. Like, they are very, very adamant on maintaining survivor strength, maintaining survivor overpowered perks, maintaining survivor, you know, hand holding, maintaining anything that involves survivor. But when it comes down to killer players, they have literally zero care for them, zero understanding on how the killer side works, and zero care for their fun. I mean, it's already kind of been shown, just judging by the updates we've gotten. It's been being shown by the patch notes, being shown by the changes, shown by the fact that we haven't received like tons and tons of updates to characters that have been bugged for years. Like, like even Deathslinger to this day still has a bug where his shot will just phase right through people, despite the fact that you've landed your shot, will phase right through them. Deathslinger still also has those bugs on his cosmetics, where his gun is misaligned compared to his default weapon, where your shots can just go into different directions depending on the cosmetic you use compared to the default. So I really don't understand, like, what the hell's going on with their development. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just one example. There's probably plenty more. If we really take the time out, I'm pretty sure Ghostface still has his reveal bug. You name it, there's probably a bug that still hasn't been fixed. Yet anything that's bugged on Survivor is literally patched within a week. It's kind of insane. And they even dragged their feet to actually fix Survivor bugs that actually benefit them. Like back when Streetwise was bugged to have infinite item usage. For some reason, that wasn't priority. Yet when Legion had infinite power use, Legion just managed to get patched within a few days. Like it was instantaneous. He was already kill switched. So my question is, why is it so, like, why are they so quick to kill switch a killer, and because of their power? But the second that items, which is directly the usage of not only the survivors being able to utilize items in combination with perks to create instantaneous healing speeds because you can stack those things, or the fact that you can have a toolbox and stack that onto whatever else you have equipped, and that just for some reason is not being addressed or kill switched within seconds of hearing it happen. It seems like a double standard. Now some people may disagree with that, but it's kind of being shown to us. Why is it that there is a double standard there? It seems like it is. It seems like a double standard to me, because the frequency and how quick they are, right? Because we're talking like time span and how, and on top of that, how often. And 9 times out of 10, they drag their feet when a perk on Survivor is extremely broken. We can even look at Made for This, that they waited 9 months or so to even fix. And then we have to take into account when Thrill the Hunt was buffed, that was nerfed within a week. Giving killers a new meta for totems, that was nerfed within a week. So it really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. I really don't understand it. I really don't know how people can, with a straight face, like sit here and say that they don't favor the one side. I mean, they literally stated themselves that they're not going to fix the pallet density update. They have no plans to fix the pallet density update. Yet there has been nothing for the killer side to deal with these overabundance of resources. There's nothing there. There was no additional pallet break speed on base kit. There is no haste for breaking the pallet. There is no bonus for breaking the pallets. There is nothing there for you. There's no, like, you know, option to block the pallet. It's all just, here you go, Survivor players. Here's more handholding, and yet there is nothing for the Survivor, for the killer side to do against the survivors. In that sense, there has not been any base kit changes to killers probably in forever. At this point, the last time I think we've ever gotten a base kit change is when they were taking things away from the killer side, which is insanity. Mind you, the stacking was probably the most recent change you've gotten, and it's negatively affected killer builds. You can't stack stuff. You can't stack haste. You can't stack this. You can't stack that. Because, oh, diminishing returns. It's like, what the hell are we talking about? So, I mean, it goes without saying. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section about what's being stated here and what you think about Otz's take on Twitter here. You agree or disagree with the points being made in the video? Let me know in the comment section. And check out my Rivals channel if you're interested in Marvel Rivals, and my other channel for other, you know, sort of more edited content, I guess you could say. And consider becoming a member on YouTube or Patreon, or even subbing on Twitch. Alright, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Cargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.